Exes are the best, said no one ever. I'm Eva Lane from anxiousrelief.com, and I received an email the other day from a lady who experiences anxiety but also is going through some really hardcore stuff in her life with some dramatic life changes. And as part of that, she's dealing with a constantly angry ex. In this case, it's her ex-husband, and he is just blaming her for everything and can't seem to control his temper and is just a nightmare for her to deal with. And of course, this is sending her anxiety up through the roof. So she contacted me just for some guidance on how to deal with this person in her life. So I thought the best way to do it would be to do a blog about it. So I've had exes in my life. I'm lucky that most of my exes were a long time ago, and I don't know, I just got lucky. I seem to have had fairly reasonable people as my exes, and my relationships ended quite amicably. But I get that that's not the case for a lot of people, particularly when you've been in a long-term relationship with someone, and especially when there's kids involved. So I get that it's hard. It's hard. And I do have close personal friends that are going through this as well. So there's a bit of insight there as well, just seeing what they're going through, the trauma that they're going through. But I just want to outline some steps that will help you regain your power and just make this transition a little less traumatic for you in the longer term. So step number one, when you're dealing with someone who is irrational and showing narcissistic traits and abusive, not just physically, mental is abusive as well. It is common for people to no longer realize who they are or what their own emotions are anymore. And what many people say to me is, I spent so much of my life walking on eggshells and making the environment around my ex a place that they could be contained in. I was so busy cleaning up the mess around him that I lost myself in the process. So really, the first step is to check in with yourself, find yourself again, and really connect again with yourself. And I get that this can take time. I get that when you've lost track of who you are and what you stand for, that really can take some time to find again. But I have a free grounding guided meditation on my website, anxiousrelief.com. I will put the link to it under this video. So that guided meditation will take you through the steps of how to ground your energy. And then once your energy is grounded, you'll just find quite naturally, without too much effort at all, you'll begin to get little nudges again of, oh yeah, that's right. I like that type of comedy. Or, oh yeah, that's right. I do like hanging out in the garden. Or I do enjoy playing the guitar. I do enjoy eating that type of food, which I haven't been allowed to eat for so long because my ex doesn't like spicy food, for example. So grounding yourself, grounding your energy, that's the first step of step one. In finding yourself again, checking in with yourself, just finding some stillness in this craziness that your ex is putting you through. Step 2 is to understand where you are in the narcissism cycle. Now, it's important to note that your ex doesn't need to be a full-blown narcissist to display narcissistic tendencies. I tend to believe that narcissism is like a spectrum, and on one end you get your full-on sociopathic, narcissistic, nightmares that just seem to have zero conscience and will do whatever it takes to get whatever he needs. And on the other end, you've got your all-round good guys. And they do exist. Good men do definitely exist out there, who, might look at themselves in the mirror a little bit too much. Not that that's serious narcissism, but it's a spectrum, I believe, and I think everyone is guilty of displaying narcissistic traits from time to time, and I believe that they're probably learnt in childhood. They're tactics that kids have used in their life to get their own way, like the tantrum becomes the mantrum. It's a different story altogether. I'll cover it off in another video. But the trick for you right now is to see where you are on the narcissistic cycle. So in my belief, as well as it being a spectrum, narcissism, the narcissistic pattern, goes in a figure 8, like this, right? Feels like a roller coaster. So here you are in the middle. The narcissist starts using you for narcissistic supplies. They lift you up. They be nice to you. They seem to be reasonable about taking the kids at the weekend, or swapping a weekend with you, or doing something that you want to do. And then once they feel like you owe them, they come down like this and they use it against you. They bring it up in a fight and make your life really difficult and bring you down and really crush you, and things are really terrible, and you might break contact for a little bit, and then out of the blue, you seem, maybe they're not quite so angry anymore, and they seem to be fairly reasonable, and they forgot about that big fight that you had, and things seem to be okay, and maybe they've seen the light. They seem to be pretty reasonable at the moment, and really easy to deal with. So like maybe you might have dinner with them, or perhaps have a conversation with them about something that means a lot to you, and then they use that against you when you have a fight, and they use it as an argumentative tool. They use it to attack you. They turn your friends against you. They really play a nasty game about it, so you no longer talk to them again, and then out of the blue they seem to have forgotten about it again. So you can see it's like over here, nice, using you for supply, getting what they want out of you, and then using it against you to try and build up their own sense of power in the situation. Know where you are and stop being sucked in by this narcissistic cycle, because it will go on forever, for as long as you let it. Now, narcissists are managed by their victims. So, knowing where you are on the narcissistic cycle will allow you to play their game by your rules. So, when you're on this bit, when you're on this up, not to give them too much. Don't let them use you for supply. You don't trust them. Give them just enough to make them feel like you're playing the game, but make sure it's by your rules. So when it comes over here, they don't have as much to use against you. So just know where you are on that figure 8, and that will help you get off that cycle. So many people have got kids with these people. it's really hard not to have to deal with them. So if you have no choice but to deal with a narcissistic ex, you just need to know where you are on that cycle, be aware of it, and just protect yourself from it. Thirdly, and this is an energy healing hack, shall we say, if it's over, if it's definitely over between you and you don't want anything more to do with him romantically, and you would just like all of those feelings of anger and making you feel bad all the time kind of frozen, you might think about writing his name on a piece of paper and putting it in the freezer. It sounds really silly, but give it a try. If it's over, if it's finished, if it's done, if you don't want any more emotional engagement with him, write his name on a piece of paper, put it in the freezer. I've done this numerous times myself, not with exes, but with people in my life that I've found just have been in weird emotional situations with. And it has worked every single time within a month. Give it a go. I highly recommend it. Go over to anxiousrelief.com, get the grounding MP3, which will really help you just get back in touch with yourself again. And also while you're over there, see what else I've got over there for you as well. I've got a whole library of MP3 healing tracks. Love and light.